All right, everybody, welcome back to the podcast. It's one of our home team episodes. We're going to get ready to rock and roll. We got a few things to talk about. Word on the street is that the guys want to talk some smack about my ski erg technique, which 75% of you actually agree with me. So good point of contention there. We will definitely be discussing that. We'll be talking about the workout of the week, or the challenge of the week, I should be saying. And then let's start off with this idea of the phones and not being allowed at Masters. This is interesting. I didn't know this until the guys just brought it up right now. I did not watch the Masters. I'm not that into golf, so I didn't watch it. But talk to me about this whole phone thing, because I find it to be really intriguing, because you guys were talking about this idea that people aren't even watching the experience. They're literally watching it through their phone. And it's like, dude, that video clip's going to be everywhere. It's not like you have to have it. So, yeah, you guys were talking about it. I thought it was really interesting. Oh, and we got to talk about the colon cleanse, too. Let's go.
Nice segue.
That was perfect.
That was
man,
good.
Now I just want to get to the colon cleanse, but we can start
Let's save
with
the juicy stuff for later.
Oh, man.
Literally.
But anyway, ESPN posted a slideshow of these pictures, and the pictures are cool because in the picture of the Masters, it's filming the golfer. He's about to hit the ball. And then the background is like a full crowd of people and everyone's watching, something that I feel like for a long time now we've moved away from, because then they compare it to MTV. What was the moment for LeBron? What was that?
It was LeBron James breaking the scoring record.
Okay. So like a really big deal in basketball.
Knew it was going to happen. Yeah.
But literally every single person, except for two, and there's like a close up of those two people, but every single person, and it's obviously crowded, jam packed, is not actually watching LeBron make the basket, but they're filming it, right? So they're like watching it through their phone. And I mean, I think that, producer Liz hit the nail on the head before we started recording, in that it's become like less about being there for the moment. And like, I was there when LeBron broke the record, and it's just more being able to let everyone else know that you were there. Because to your point, there's really good video of him scoring that point. Like, if you want to replay the highlight or the video, just go on ESPN, just like, now it's recorded. You have access to that. That's not why people are recording it. They're not recording it because they want to go back and watch that play because it was historic. It becomes this thing of like, I was there. And you could make the argument, I guess, that like, that's their way of almost collecting, memorializing, right? Or having a digital souvenir of the moment.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. It's a good conversation, right? Because, I've shared this many times on the podcast. I think that I'm terrible about my phone and how absorbed I've been with this new digital world and social media and stuff. And I'm like very, very self-aware about it. But, I think it's cool that we're going back to, cause I know in comedy clubs, this has become a big thing. Rogan was really big about it. Yeah. With collecting the phones and putting them in the bags. Just making you be more present and actually like enjoying the experience instead of like, I'm just going to record this thing. So, but the picture was cool.
Dude, so I was telling these guys before the show started about a comedy show that I had went to this past weekend in San Diego, which had a really weird vibe. But interestingly enough, during the closing joke of the comedy show, during the guy's literally like his pinnacle joke of the comedy show, he's singing a song that is about his dead dad. And it's like this mix. So no, it's really sweet.
Sounds hysterical.
There we go. Yeah, this is the kind of comedy show that I go to. But no, it's a mix of like a really sweet like homage to his dad, but then also he goes up to other men in the crowd and he's like, "Will you be my dad?" And then the reactions that these guys give back are like really funny. He asks them to like tie a tie around his neck and like throw a baseball to him while he's on the stage, and like it's pretty hysterical when he gets to that point. But during the part about the dad passing away, like he purposely brings the energy of the crowd lower, right? And one of the dudes who was with the guy who was heckling, this is what I was telling you guys, was on his phone, literally having a conversation on his fucking phone during the show, during the closing joke. And the comedian stopped everything. Morgan J, he handled it like a pro. He stopped the show and he looked at him. He goes, "Is your phone call right now more important than this song about my dead dad?" And everybody went crazy because it was kind of, the comedic timing was good. But just another example of just people being so addicted to their phones that they can't even enjoy the experience of the pinnacle joke of the show without taking their phone out and doing something stupid.
Dude.
Is wild.
That's wild, man.
It was crazy.
Really?
The audacity
and it's like
of these people.
The lack of awareness, dude. Like, I mean, I don't get it as often because I don't really work at coffee shops. I know that sometimes you do MDV. I don't really spend much time like in coffee shops. I don't anymore, but I used to. And I used to always wonder why people would be like doing FaceTime and like it's all on speaker. And you're like, bro, like just walk outside. Like it's all good. Like just walk outside. And if you want to be on FaceTime, like just walk out. You know, it's not a big deal. Yeah. Like just do you. I one time, I haven't done this before, but one time I was with the family and we were in Turks and Caicos and I was really trying to like enjoy my lunch with my family. And we're on the beach, no phones are out, like really trying to like lock in. And this dude next to us, a little bit older guy, starts speaking on FaceTime, like hell loud. And I'm like, all right, dude, just be chill. And Ashley looks at me and she knows like, I'm like kind of one of those guys. I'm not like afraid of confrontation. I don't really get like weird about it, like whatever. And so after a while, like it probably went on for like 10, 15 minutes and other people in the restaurant kind of picking up on it. So I just graciously was like, excuse me, like, can you please take that somewhere? He's like, oh, I didn't even notice or whatever. And then he went away. It was no big deal, right? But like at the time, he was so locked in on this conversation that he didn't even realize he was interrupting everybody else's experience. Yeah. So anyways, I don't know why I went off on that tangent, but
that's okay. I think it relates back to what we were talking about with the LeBron James moment, man. And Gabe, I think you made a good point. There's a valid point to be made that I think some people are actually capturing the moment for themselves to share with people they know and love, to remember it, maybe like take some like video of the crowd as well while they're doing it. So I understand that aspect of it, but this is like going to a concert, the same thing, going to a concert, holding your phone up the whole time, or being at a fireworks show and holding your phone up and videotaping the fireworks. And like, yeah, you're going to get a cool video from it, but you're also missing out on so much of the experience of just being immersed in the moment and being present and being just there and like having the memory of being there and fully in it. That, are you ever going to go back and watch that clip of LeBron?
Probably not.
Yeah. Are you going to go back and watch the fireworks video? The LeBron moment's even like, you can argue, okay, lifetime type of achievement, NBA, once in a lifetime, once in a 100 years type of player, probably. Fireworks shows, concerts, man, like nobody's going back and watching those videos ever again. Never.
But I also think there's something to be said about taking pictures. I think something that Ash and I are actually pretty bad about. You know, like I film a lot of content for social media and whatever, but in general, like when her and I are out, we don't really film anything. And we surely don't film anything, but we will take pictures every now and then. But like we've talked about it, that at times it's actually been kind of not great because we don't commemorate, we don't take pictures at all of like stuff that we're doing with the family sometimes. I think we could even get better about that. More so like, hey, it's a picture we're going to look back on in the future. But we don't need to take videos. I don't see myself taking many videos. Well, there's a fine line, right?
Yeah. This is also, I was having this conversation actually the other day with somebody. This is one place where technology, I think, has kind of failed us insofar that like the amount of photographs that you can take and the amount of videos that you can take, it's massive. You document a lot of times like your entire life, your entire day. Like you have thousands and thousands of photographs on your phone, thousands of videos, but then you never really go back and revisit them in a meaningful way like you used to with photo albums, right? Like if you remember photo albums when you were younger, when you were a kid, like your mom would take pictures, get them developed, put them into an album, and you'd have them somewhere that you could like display them and kind of look through very quickly. I don't think technology has done a good job of being able to help you re-look at photos or memories. It's just different. You know, looking at digital photos is different than looking at the memories of print photos.
Yeah, I would say though, maybe to counter that a little bit, like one of the most valuable things I find with my phone, because I despise my phone in general. I try to spend as little time on it as possible. Mostly, just use it for whatever work purposes and stuff. But, and I'm not great about taking pictures, not great about taking videos, but one of the best aspects of the phone is being able to go back and look at old photos and videos of my kids, especially. Yeah. And just kind of revisiting those things. I mean, just like a photo album. I've actually, it sometimes it'll like curate albums for you and kind of like send them to you and you can have a look at them, or even if you just go back, I'll just file through like a few years back and look at the kids when they were 2 or 1 or when they were babies. And it's a nice way to capture things that otherwise might have been forgotten. And certainly I'm not taking like regular pictures of it, you know?
For sure. And I appreciate that aspect of it. And I do think like the newer versions of the Apple operating system, they do suggest like albums and memories and time. Yeah, those are pretty cool.
Yeah, it's
but
pretty
I'm
cool.
just saying, like, it used to be like you'd have these albums on like a counter or a shelf somewhere, and you could
It was
like
like a
very
thing.
easy.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
it was a thing. It was very like nostalgic looking at this, as opposed to like you're just sitting there again, just on your phone, going like this. Like,
for
it's
sure.
not as immersive in the memory, at least for me.
No, it's not the same. It's
I remember
definitely not
you'd
the
go
same.
on like a vacation and then you'd like, you would say, hey, let me show you this photo album of our trip here. And it was like like you would relive the experience by going through it. Now you have like time hop and stuff like that. It's just different. But yeah, I get what you're saying, MDV. That's interesting. I wonder if they'll be like, because even now they have those things where like you could pop it up on the TV where like pictures will show up on there. But you don't have that same thing like, oh, let me show you my trip to Africa. And it's like a whole scrapbook. My mom was all about the scrapbooks, dude.
I feel like then too, you have to be so much more intentional about like the pictures you saved and what you printed out and the stuff that went on the album versus like now, because there's almost an unlimited amount that you can save on this device. You'll have just duplicates and duplicates. You'll have pictures that don't make sense. And, I don't know how often people go in there and like clean stuff up unless you're like, you're out of memory, but you just get stuck with so much stuff that doesn't even serve that purpose. Cause Dennis, I'm glad you brought that up. It's funny on flights. I love going through my camera roll. Like it's one of my favorite things to do on flights. Cause like sometimes the Wi-Fi isn't working or like whatever. I can't really like, watching movies on a flight like isn't an option anymore with the kids. You get like these like little chunks of like 5 or 10 minutes where you're actually like not doing anything per se. And that's a really cool time to go back and look at pictures. So I thought I was the only one that did that. So that's really cool. But yeah, you get stuck with so much now because it's unlimited. It's unlimited in some ways. And I remember Louis C.K. had a bit tying the LeBron thing to, kids now too, where you've probably seen this here, or Jason, you've probably seen this too. You guys have older kids where there's also a lot of parents that go to like the recitals and the plays and the stuff. And they're not watching that either. They're watching that through a phone, cause they're recording it. And that seems even, sillier maybe just because that you're not even like potentially sharing with anyone else that's going to value that moment as much as you are. So, I would hope that
there's some people that send it to like their family members and stuff like that. But, I've been to events before, like for the kids, where they'll specifically say, hey, we are sending you a full copy, high definition of this entire thing. Just sit and enjoy.
Don't pull your phone out.
Right. Yeah, just sit and enjoy. We are sending this to you, everybody. But yeah, it's the same thing, Gabe. It's the same thing. I mean, what I'll do sometimes, I'll film tidbits of like different sporting events just to send it to my family. But I'm also really hyper aware about like trying to be careful not to film other kids and like especially not their faces and stuff. I don't know why. I'm like, I really try and be like very sensitive of that because it's not my kid. I don't want to have their video being shifted around throughout, especially if it goes public. Within my family, it's one thing, but if it goes public, that's different.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to ask.
We got to talk skier.
We got to talk skiers because honestly, you guys are wrong. And this is
Dennis.
you guys,
I'm not wrong.
No, I
I'm
still
on the
can't
right side here.
believe,
Well,
Dennis,
what
your
are we
position
talking
on this.
Well, let's all right. Let's take
highlight
a step back. Let's take a step back and like give everyone the context of what it is we're even talking about
Take
here,
some
because we're
space
assuming
here.
everyone knows exactly what we're talking
strong
about.
opinions loosely held right
So,
here.
so Jason posted a video.
Nice, Gabe.
Jason posted a video the other day of him doing ski sprints. And pulling up the video would also do this better justice because it was also
I was going to say, Liz, this is the right time to pull up that
like
video.
the video
right?
itself, I think, kind of like,
It was
sparked,
a story, so it's probably gone in the ether.
sparked the
your
trash
phone.
talk. But anyway, Jason was doing the ski erg and feet completely coming off the ground, big jump, big swing of the arms, like slamming down. And essentially what me and MD were
Astronaut
saying,
shoes over here, moon boots here, just jumping, dude.
what I said first was just, you're doing the ski erg wrong. And I guess like my point here is that just like, that would be like someone saying that, hey, you watch a clip of someone doing butterfly pull-ups and it's like, hey, you're doing pull-ups wrong. Like it serves a purpose, of course, but it was just funny coming off of the conversation that we had where Jason, you felt so strongly about like, hey, I'll never do butterfly pull-ups again. Cause I think the analogy is pretty spot on for me in that if your goal with the skier is simply to get as much of that number on the screen as possible, then of course you can jump, use all your weight, use as much momentum. Like you're just trying to game the movement, same way the butterfly pull-up games the movement. Like technically your chin is breaking the plane of the bar and you've quote unquote completed a pull-up. But to our conversation, like, are you getting the benefit of the actual exercise, or is it just like, you know, quote unquote completing the rep? And I think that for the intention of an all-out sprint on the ski erg, I think that the simple explanation here is like, if you were to test a 30-second sprint doing what you were doing and a 30-second sprint making sure you keep your foot on the ground and just using like your core, your arms to get that thing moving as much as possible, you would feel more of the intended stimulus of that, keeping your feet on the ground. And that is the only point that I have, is that it was funny how you were so into, you know, there you go.
Oh my God. Yes, bro.
Yes.
What is this? Jason, you're giving CrossFit a bad name forever.
Dude, that is the
continuing.
butterfly. That is the butterfly. Dude, so okay.
Dude, it's exactly the butterfly pull-up.
I just text you also, Liz, my most current one as well. But guys, dude, you know what? If that's what's getting me the cows, man, that's what's getting me the cows. It's like
Sure, for sure.
For sure. I'm not arguing the fact that it's effective in max power output. My position on this is more like, you don't have to do all that. Like it's like a little too much for me. It's like you're getting this like incremental increase in intensity here and displaying like less than optimal technique for most of humanity out there who's ever going to touch a ski erg. Like imagine all the people who follow you now going and doing ski erg like that at whatever gym they walk into, and like, where did you learn that? Like, yeah, I watched Jason Khalipa do it. Yeah, this is Jason Khalipa's technique.
The train hard version of the
Train hard,
yeah. Train hard goes down the trash.
Nick Bear messaged me. He goes, "You have no idea." I got to pull. He said something like, He's like, "I'm so." Something along the lines of like, "Dude, I loved that so much." Like that video.
God.
Just like how long can you even sustain that for though?
Not very long, probably.
So he says those first 7 reps were so satisfying to watch. You can't maintain it for a long time. Basically, It's like you're hardcore, just like, dude, I got that, skier down to, in the teens, right? So like 10, 115, whatever, and it's just grinding because you're using your whole weight to just and you're butterflying it, right? Like you guys were saying.
Yeah. So but okay. So then why can't you sustain it for that long?
Because I'm going RP 10, bro. I mean, I don't know. It's just
absolute maximum intensity.
It's incorporating the entire body.
So what's wrong with it?
I don't think for me, Dennis, what's wrong with it is that it's in terms of the full benefit of the movement and displaying how the movement probably should look to like, or could look in a more beautiful expression. It's like too much. Same thing with like getting on the rower and like rowing like a maniac. And like just completely all over the place, like your limbs are just crazy, like your stroke is super short and fast. Like, yeah, I get it. Like you're going to get to 500 meters pretty damn fast like that. But like the incremental increase in versus what you would get versus maximum intensity, where you were actually paying attention to like proper mechanics of the movement or proper form, I think is not worth the display of the feet leaving the ground type of deal.
Yeah, but see, I don't think that the two are comparable. I don't think that there's anything that inefficient about what he's doing there.
I didn't say it was inefficient.
Right, but the comparison to a row, a 500 meter row that's highly inefficient would be one thing, but because then your output would likely decrease. But if you're going for like 10, 15, 20 seconds, crank that thing up as high as you possibly can. Mm-hmm. I think that what he's doing is actually like probably the proper technique to crank it up as high as possible. And then it naturally, as you see in the video, like he can only sustain it for like 10 seconds. And then eventually you just have to settle into a less aggressive pace and movement.
I think if anything, obviously it looks wonky. Of course,
that's the crux of the issue for me. It's like this is like the perpetuation of CrossFitters or people in functional fitness moving like.
But it's the rower is
what you're jumping but like if you just watch he's jumping.
Okay, if I saw somebody do that at a regular gym, I'd be like, this person is out of their goddamn mind. What is this person doing right now? But I understand Jason is a fucking animal, and the ski erg was probably getting ready to fall apart. The amount of meters and power that he was putting out of this thing is massive. But imagine like you see a normal guy doing that at like the LA Fitness or at a CrossFit gym or whatever. He's just like,
But I do think that like in Jason's defense, like Jason's always been that guy. And he's also like, I've told Jason this many times, and I hope it doesn't come off as a backhanded compliment, but like one of the reasons that I think Jason was such a crowd favorite, or he was like, you know, the reason that I really enjoyed watching Jason compete is because he made shit look hard. You know, like Rich would like win these events and almost make it look effortless. But you cheered for Jason because Jason was hurting.
Dude,
Jason
the
was
slobbering
struggling.
step back from the barbell.
Jason was like just, it was always kind of gritty and in some ways sloppy, but I think that that's what made him like really fun to watch and compete. Like another video that comes to mind, Jay, you probably remember this. You were in the barn with Rich and you let the bike ghost ride. And that to me is like, and the comments were all super funny of like, dude, that doesn't count. Like, what are you doing? You would like hammer the bike and then just like put your feet up on the pegs and just let it ghost ride and then hammer the bike and then put your feet up. And it was like, dude, what technique is that? And again, like, I'm sure it worked and I'm sure that like, you know, it got you the score, but Jason's always been that guy, right? Like if you were to watch
doing Amanda at the games, bro. Remember
Joe
that?
Schmo at a group class doing that technique of like hammering and then putting his hands on the pegs, you'd be like, dude, what are you doing? You know, but like, dude, that's Jason's MO. You gotta love him for it. I just wanted to give you a hard time.
Dude,
but,
here's
Jay,
I just want to make sure.
I'm still in fully support of that technique.
And Dennis, here's something else I'll bring up. Just like a little bit of is the rower. Okay, so if someone said to me, Jason, I want you to set a 200 meter or a max watt, a max this, bro, I am basically hinging at the hip and deadlifting that sucker. Like
for sure.
Fast, aggressive reps. And I'm not even getting my full knee extension. I'm just hinging and pulling as hard as I can. And so what becomes the technique? Is it the result drives the technique, or the technique drives the result? You know what I'm saying? Like, and it becomes this really weird dynamic. But I will tell you, if I walk into an LA Fitness, which I don't see myself doing anytime soon, but if I did, and I saw someone going ape shit on a skier jumping in the air, I would just like,
just salute him.
Keep going, brother. Keep going.
I mean, and the wonderful thing about
the
great thing about the machines is they're not going to lie to you. What's happening is right in front of your face on the monitor. So
I'm not arguing the results of the effort. Most of this is also me giving Jason a hard time.
It looks bad.
Oh, it looks crazy.
Yeah, it looks
bad. But I mean, 72%. I mean, there was a lot of people that saw that, and I was honestly. You guys made me hella self-conscious. And so I put this post because I had a bunch, not a bunch. I had a few guys in the garage. We were training hard. We did the Train Hard Daily, which I've been hitting the Train Hard Daily every day since we came on our new app. And I got to say, I love the way it makes me feel. Today I did an anaerobic day, which then I did the lunges. So that's maybe why I didn't do as well on the challenge. We'll have to talk about it. But I did the anaerobic day as prescribed, RP10, and crushed it. And then yesterday got in some great full body strength. But if you guys haven't checked out the updated Train Hard app, make sure to check out the podcast show notes. In there, you'll be able to see a link. You'll be able to join us in the community section. You'll be able to do the exact same workouts that I do on a daily basis. Train Hard Daily. I think it just makes me feel like a total badass. It allows me to go do the other things I want to do, like jiu-jitsu. And anyways, back to what we were talking about. What were we talking about before I got sidetracked?
Well, hold on, just a quick shout out. Dennis has been key and instrumental in building that Train Hard Daily program, along with the feedback from Jay, Gabe, myself, and Den. Just want to give you a shout out, man. It's really great programming. It's a 6-day-a-week template. You don't have to train all 6 days that week, but you have a really good variety of days, full body days, anaerobic, aerobic, mixed modal stuff in there. Really, really great program if you want to look and feel like a badass. So Dennis, thank you very much.
Yeah, hope people are enjoying it.
On that note, really quick, because it is a question we get a lot, what would be the 3 days to do if you're doing that as a 3-day-a-week program?
I feel like we've asked this question a bunch of times.
Still get it all the time.
I think we did cover it, yeah.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, ultimately that depends on what your goals are, what you're trying to accomplish with your fitness. I mean, it makes sense to try to get a strength day in, to get an anaerobic day in, or a mixed modal day. Those can kind of be interchanged perhaps. And the aerobic day, I think, is great to cover all your bases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I love about it is with the Train Hard Daily, because I've been doing it daily, I can speak from experience in the sense that I feel really good. I feel really good, and it allows me to go do the other things I want to go do. Like I finished the anaerobic session this morning, or the full body strength, or the strength yesterday, and I don't feel super toast. And it's unique for me. Normally I feel super toast every day, but this has allowed me to feel really good and confident and take on the rest of my day. And as long as I'm locked in with my nutrition, I feel like a complete it's perfect. It's exactly what I should be feeling. Closing in on 40, it's a perfect program for me and where I'm at in my life right now, especially because I add in jiu-jitsu multiple days a week. And that could be very aggressive. But what I was bringing up about that was that we had a group of guys, all these guys that I train with, they follow Train Hard Daily every day. And we were doing, I don't remember, we were doing one of the workouts, and then we were finishing up with just like all out effort. Like, I don't know. I think we did 5 minutes of 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off. And that's where the skier came in. And so I shared it online, and then you guys were hating, and I started becoming hella self-conscious and like, wow, should I delete this? Like a bunch of thoughts went through my mind. And then I put up a poll and just leaned into it, and I wanted to see what people thought.
Well, I mean, I think a key part of being a friend is giving your friends shit about stuff like this. This is like, if I didn't love you as a friend, bro, I wouldn't have said anything. I would have just let you go. I would have just let it go and not have said anything. But you got to give your friends shit about stuff like this.
Yeah.
Just like I would hope you guys would give me shit about some of the stuff. I get shit all the time from doing push-ups on Instagram. And all my buddies are like, oh, this is a really good push-up video that you did again today. Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
to this day, I'll never share a video of me doing any sort of like running, sprinting, because Dennis like completely ruined me for sharing sprinting. Did you remember? Do you remember that video?
Yeah. What did I say? Like, I forget what I said.
It was the straight arms. Like
the straight arms.
I will completely admit this. If I do like an all-out sprint, it looks incredibly unathletic. Like
you can't hide. You can't hide your own athleticism when you sprint.
Incredibly unathletic.
Sprinting and throwing, your athleticism is expressed very quickly.
Jason's like, we don't go
throwing.
there.
We don't talk about that.
I do have to remind Liz though. Liz has to use my vertical jump in a social media post coming up soon, because that I did do well with the CBP crew. That was the most impressive thing when we did all those tests for sure, especially for a big guy.
You had a throw posted the other day on social media. You were throwing the ball back to Caden, right? And I was waiting for someone to comment.
So
I was so tempted, so then nobody said anything. Did no one get a comment on the throw?
I didn't see it. I might have commented if I saw it.
It wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible.
It wasn't terrible.
Much better than where it was in the past.
Yeah, it wasn't terrible.
But dude, I'm telling you,
I'm still convinced that Jason somehow like paid incredible amounts of money to get the softball throw clip scrubbed from the internet. Me and Liz have done everything in our power to find that clip, and it like doesn't exist. You can find anything else, but you can find Jason throwing that softball.
I think we know a few people who might have worked over at CrossFit Media at some point that we could actually get the OG footage.
You know what? I wish we did actually, because I would love to go back and see it.
Maybe a good before after.
I'm going to hit up Savon and just be like,
I
bro,
bet he definitely has it.
This is what happens when you play baseball with your son almost daily. Here's your throw. And my throw got way better. It still sucks, but it's way better.
But you were like a BMX kid, bro. Like you were doing different types of shit growing up as opposed to playing baseball and team sports. You were a BMX guy.
Oh,
see the throw. I love this. Dude,
isn't
Liz
bad.
is crushing it.
Wait, watch this. Watch this. Look at that. Not bad.
It's not bad.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Not
Getting
great.
Getting better.
It's kind of
a little bit of a dart. A little bit of a dart.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: the video doesn't give context. Maybe I'll just, hey, just low key,
nice and easy.
Give me back to the picture.
Den, what is it about those two movements? Because I agree, right? Like you can be the quote unquote fittest person and literally sprint or throw, and it's like you can tell the athletes from the not. Like, what is it about those movements? And again, generally speaking, but I think there's some real truth to that statement for sure.
I mean, they just require like a very high level of intra muscular coordination.
Yeah,
like all the muscles kind of communicating with each other. And that's something that's like God given. You can develop it and practice it, but you're kind of born with it or you're not. And you can see that with kids. Like kids go out and play soccer, and you got kids that can just run, and you got kids that can jump, and you got kids that can just throw. Like, they just have like an inherent athleticism built into them, and all those things can be developed for sure. But you can see they're able to express it at a young age, and we maintain that as adults. You know, you either have it or you don't, kind of thing. But there's obviously there's other forms of athleticism that can be expressed, like something like a 1-rep or a max vertical jump could be another expression of that. So you don't necessarily either have or don't have all of those. But sprinting and throwing are two pretty good, just expressions of like natural, talented athleticism.
Yeah. Dynamic movement, like a cones course too. Like, you can very easily pick out on a cones course who's an athlete and who's not. Yeah. You know what's funny is, like, I've been an athlete like most of my life, like playing team sports, did a lot of training, all that kind of stuff. So that stuff I was always pretty good at. It never translated to dancing, dude. Like, it was somehow got lost in the mix between full body coordination as an athlete to full body coordination on the dance floor. Like, it just didn't translate.
So are we getting a video of you doing salsa or what?
Bro, it would be rough.
Dude, so
it would be rough.
Ashley and I wanted to choreograph our first dance for our wedding, and it was like important to her at the time. And we started going to these dancing lessons, dude. And like, bro, it was no bueno, like no good. And we were trying to do like a kind of like a not flamenco, like kind of like a little bit of Gabe Yanez style, right? Like a little bit of that, you know, that little Latin flavor, right? And dude, I'm telling you, we got like 4 or 5 lessons in. Ashley looks at me. She's like, hey, this is really starting to stress me out. And I was like, me too. She's like, you want to just scratch this? I was like, yes. She's like, perfect. But to your point, in MDV, it definitely changes the game. It's because of the hips, dude. And the baseball is hard because of core to extremity. So the reason why it's so difficult for me is that it requires that wrist flick at the end.
Yeah.
And
full body wave of motion.
Exactly. And that timing, it's not like, dude, I'll be throwing with Caden. And I'll be like, okay, warming up. And then all of a sudden it'll just hit the ground, like straight in front of me, or it'll fly over his head. It's the timing of the throw. Yeah. So, yeah, but that CBP event we did, it had the cones course. That was really interesting too. Gabe crushed the mile run, for sure.
But I did not crush the cones course. Dude, you make me start and stop or go fast to short directions and it falls apart. It's bad.
So we have some super important business to talk about. Fellow listeners, I appreciate you guys. We need to talk to Dennis about something. Dennis.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the colon cleanse.
I forgot all about it.
How can you forget about it?
No,
Did it pass your mind?
I'm kidding. Yeah, my brain came out of my ass, so I...
We need that back in there. Put it back in.
I mean, like, this is going to be kind of anticlimactic, I think, in that it's exactly what you would expect, right? Like, the most interesting aspect of it is like leading up to it, getting yourself okay. So you walk into this place. It's a legit setup. It's a spa, very nice people, very clean facilities, like a very professional environment. So you know that kind of like dispels any kind of anxiety you have about like walking into some super sketchy place.
Just like, what's the opposite of that? Like, would you even walk in if it was like off the corner? Like, what did they have? Like a little hose attached?
Yeah, like
who the hell knows, right? Who the hell knows?
An old guy in his backyard with a garden hose. Hey, come on.
I bought a 3-pack on a discount, so who the hell knows? So they take you in the back room, and they have like it's like basically a bed. I have a picture of it. I can show it to you guys. It's like it's like a big bed, like this big unit that you're gonna sit in, and it has like these like stirrups. You know, like foam stirrups, basically. You're gonna undress. You're gonna lay down on your back. You're gonna lay your legs over these stirrups.
Like a gynecologist office.
Yeah, so you're a full like spread eagle. They give you like, and then there's a tube that they give you that you have to insert on your own. And they give you and the lady like gives you these rapid fire instructions. Like, okay, so you're gonna lay down. You're gonna put the pad over here. You're gonna take the tube. You're gonna put the jelly on. You're gonna insert. You gotta move. And my head is spinning, and I'm like, wait.
Gave you some jelly for it?
Yeah, they give you a little bit of jelly. And I'm like, wait, you got to say all that again. Like, are there diagrams? Is there like an instruction book here? Because I don't want to do something out of order or like screw something up. Like, I don't know what's going to happen here. And so you whatever, they leave. It takes a few minutes to figure out how to get this thing inserted, whether it's inserted at all, if it's inserted too far, not enough. Like, you don't really feel anything other than just like the initial little pressure. So I'm freaking out. I'm like, is this thing like up in my throat? Like where is this thing?
Yo, this conversation is getting off the rails right now, boys. We are getting,
I don't know where this thing
a
is.
little far off
I don't
the
know,
rails.
and I'm trying to feel around, and it's like. So anyway, I finally get in. She comes in, she makes sure I'm okay, and then they turn the machine on.
Oh, so she came in. She came in when you.
Yeah, but you're like, they give you like a little drape to like cover yourself in. So,
Okay.
Yeah. So
Did she check to make sure it wasn't in your throat?
No. She just asked me if it was in. I was like, I think so. But then they find out as soon as they turn the water on, they know whether it's in or not.
Right. Okay.
And you can't put it in too far. Like you would, and so the water starts going in. She's like, so the water's going to fill up your large intestine first. You're going to feel it kind of like start to bubble a little bit. And you're going to start to feel some cramping and pressure, which is exactly what happened.
Oh, that sounds so uncomfortable.
And the instructions are basically like, hold on to the water for as long as you possibly can until you absolutely like cannot hold on anymore.
No.
Mm-hmm.
And initially, like for the first 5 minutes, I couldn't hold on to anything. It was just like shooting in and just like dripping out of me. And I was getting like cramping and I was getting like nauseous. And I was like, this is going to be a rough 35 minutes because it's the 35-minute procedure.
35 minutes?
Yeah. And I was like, I was panicking. I was freaking out. I'm like, I got to pull the plug. Literally. And, no, but then like after like 5 minutes or so, you finally like settle down, your body kind of figures out what's going on and you can actually like hold it. And then you hold it after a minute or two, you just have to release and then you do it again. And that's basically the process for the next like half hour. And they try to tell you, they tell you like, hold on to it. Like, you know, like if you've ever like really had to go to the bathroom and you're in the car or something like that, like, you know, like that kind of feeling, like just hold on as long as possible. And then eventually you just can't hold on anymore. And at first it was like basically just kind of fluid coming out, like water coming out of me, I think. And then when you finally get the first like actual release of matter, it's like you get this like, it's like,
Yo, I'm kind of getting sick right now.
Yeah, this is.
We need a warning.
you wanted to
before
find
this.
out.
Yeah.
We
You
need
wanted-
Liz.
I gotta
please
give you
make
all the
sure-
details. What do you want? You don't want
Please
details?
make sure
Wait,
we put a warning before Dennis
edit
starts
this.
telling the story.
How do you-
If you're eating, please stop eating during this portion of the show.
But I am super curious then, like,
How do you feel?
Yeah, how do you feel? Like what?
I mean, you
Or
feel emptied
tough to
out.
tell.
It
Yeah.
wasn't like a life-changing moment. You know, I wasn't like walking out of there on cloud nine or anything like that, feeling like a different person. You feel cleaned out.
Would
Did
you
a
do it
lot of
again?
Stuff.
I
come
am
out,
doing
like-
it again. I'm doing it on Friday. I'm doing it 2 more times. You can do it.
Three-pack.
You do it 3 weeks in a row. Is what they recommend. So I got to go back 2 more times.
Wow, Dennis.
Ah,
Yeah.
This is mind blowing.
Yeah, and that was. Yeah.
I'm not-
I mean,
not
it's
exactly.
very. It's more. You walk. It's humiliating. You feel very vulnerable when you're first getting yourself set up. It's like an out of body experience when you're getting set up in the thing. You're like, am I doing this right now? Like you're looking around like, what? Are there cameras? Like what am I doing? I'm naked in this place. So anyway, so yeah, it was good. I'd recommend it.
Man,
Felt great.
So without getting like too detailed into like the details of this situation, did a lot of stuff come out? Did more stuff come out than you expected, or like what was?
That was the one disappointing thing. I don't know, because the way you're set up, you're like laying on this bed and your legs are up and your ass is right up against like this just like hole. So everything that drains out of you just goes straight down this hole into like a container underneath the bed. So you never get to see what comes out of you. I was hoping to get like a report.
Yeah, probably
Yeah,
a good
like a
thing.
gold
Probably a good
star or
thing.
wait,
Yeah.
I thought you said that they do give you like some sort of feedback on how you were doing based on was that not?
Well, they normally do, especially at places where they administer them for you. They like report to you as it's happening. Like, oh, that was a good one. But the first time Jen went, the woman gave her a little report. I guess she looked at the container before Jen left. But I didn't get that. So I don't know. I don't know if a lot came out, if a little came out, if it felt like a lot. I don't know.
Man, I'm not exactly sure what to do with this information, but all jokes aside, and I do appreciate you sharing.
Yeah,
one
thank
of
you
those
for sharing.
things
Yeah, of course.
from like a health nutrition standpoint that just is taboo to talk about in general is pooping and waste. But like, I've had many conversations with this, with, Ariel actually, who did a lot of the studying and like, as part of her like nutrition practice of, it is also just one of the most telling indicators of, without going into blood work, without going into whatever, of what is going on, and having regular bowel movements, like what it looks like, the sensation, like all of those things. And I know that all this stuff is uncomfortable for people to talk about, but there's so much information that you can get from even just understanding what going regularly looks like what, you're supposed to be expecting, all of that stuff. So it is a taboo that, is uncomfortable to talk about, but it's natural. We all freaking do it, and it gives you a lot of information.
I'm totally comfortable talking about it.
Yeah.
I will
clearly.
say, first off, Dennis,
very obvious.
You got me like an extra. I feel like I just got a 6-pack because of you, and like, or whatever. Like I got an additional ab because of you right now, because you made me laugh so hard.
Laughing.
So thank you for that, and I hope that the listeners really enjoyed that current segment. And they got a little bit grossed out, and now we're back to the regular edition. But no, I appreciate you sharing that, because I didn't realize the process. I didn't know. And I don't see myself doing that. But if I did, I would want to know that process. I'd want to know that it goes that way. So thanks for sharing that, man.
And you can get it. You could go to places that administer it for you also, which to me, I was more interested. I like it better self-administered. I don't want somebody back there. Like, I don't know. That to me, that's talk about humiliating.
DIY is the way to go, for sure.
Yeah.
DIY.
I'm always like, I don't know if skeptical is the right word, but maybe more, I guess skeptical, a little bit more skeptical of something that I feel like wouldn't have been a practice that we've done, just historically, right? Like, why wasn't this something that like has been done time and time again? Maybe it has, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that a lot of the potential need for something like this would stem from just the fact that our diets have changed, and the fact that there's a lot going on in kind of our guts and digestive system that wasn't an issue before. Is that kind of the thinking there? Or
no, I mean, I don't know the exact history of this, but I'm fairly certain that this has been going on for like centuries.
Yeah,
oh, really?
I think
not
this
the
is
way
one
I
of
did
those
it.
things. Yeah,
Not with a machine and a bed and stirrups.
And straps, yeah.
I think I mean, I haven't researched this. I actually might research this to find out, but this falls into the category. I think
What are you gonna
of things
Google?
along the lines of the history of colon cleansing. Yeah, and I'll probably get some interesting results. But like, I think this falls into like acupuncture, in some ways massage, in some ways those types of things that, a lot of these ancient practices, and I don't know whether it is or not, but I would, if I had to bet, I would say it was, that this was something that's happened for hundreds, if not, thousands of years.
Yeah, if anything, probably just as a remedy for constipation initially.
Yeah.
In
Let's
terms
see,
of its use.
Gabe's looking
Gabe's
up
deep
something.
in the matrix right now.
Yeah, look at him. Yeah.
it has very ancient roots dating all the way back to ancient
Yeah.
Egypt. Medical texts describe enemas as a central part of health maintenance.
For
sure.
It was a big part of Greek medicine. Hippocrates actually supported enemas. He was a big enema guy.
Yeah, this is like that whole butthole sunning trend that like got
Oh
hot
man! Or
a while back.
remember that time we were talking about the coffee? Wait, let's see what Liz says. Colon cleanses since early 1500 BC.
Oh yeah, let's go.
Yeah, that's the
Dennis
ancient
walking around
Egyptians.
like an
Yeah.
Egypt- with the Egyptians.
Yeah, that's a long ass time ago.
Pyramids, man.
Seriously. All right,
Wow. All right. Well,
you guys
thanks,
are up, boys.
Dennis.
That's gonna be
Yeah,
my
we-
weekly. That's gonna be my weekly challenge when I'm up.
Oh man.
Do you guys get
Revenge.
into the revenge challenge? Oh gosh. Do you guys get into any like pyramid like conspiracy theory stuff, or do you guys watch any videos about like how the pyramids were built or the theories of the pyramids?
I've only heard like just from the guys that talk about it on Rogan's podcast. That's really the extent
it's
of my
so fascinating
knowledge
to me.
of it. And yeah, it's
You mean
definitely
about,
fascinating. I've
the
never
type
gone
of
down the
labor
rabbit
they
hole though.
used? Like in terms of like,
No, just like it's like impossible.
The
The more you
enormity
think about
of
it, the
these
more impossible it
structures.
is.
Yeah, the enormity of these structures, the size of the stones, how far away some of the stones came from to get to where they're at, like how long it would have taken to build one layer of the pyramid, let alone like how massive they are. The
There's like
depth
millions of stones, right?
millions, and like the intricacies of the design inside the pyramid, like the construction, the actual like sophistication of the construction. And now they're maybe potentially finding structures underneath the pyramids that they never knew about. They never knew about some of the stuff that was. Can I share one more thing
What's
really
the
quickly?
conspiracy then? Yeah.
So the conspiracy theory is that the conspiracy theory around the pyramids, there's many, but some of the conspiracy theories are that the pyramids were actually like ancient, like energy conductors or something like that, and that they used them for like power to create, you know, these massive structures. I don't know. I don't get too into that side of it. I like thinking about like if these were actually built by humans, how the hell did they do this without tools and equipment and big rigs and stuff like this that we can't even build that kind of stuff today with the tools that we have, you know, to kind of think about it. Like the modern day skyscrapers, like you need tools to build that kind of shit. But did you guys see that they found a statue of a Buddha recently? Did we talk about this at all? Like they found an ancient statue of a Buddha. It was like a human sized statue and it was sitting cross-legged. And they thought that it was just a bronze statue and they were going to go clean it. And they did a scan first. And what they found was that inside the bronze statue was a human mummified remains of a monk who had himself bronzed, buried alive in the statue, and then was breathing through a tiny tube and like a tiny little bell that he could flick with his finger to let him know that he was still alive for a series of like, I think it was like 40 or 60 days or something like that. This person was in this thing. Like it was incredible, but they thought that this thing was just a statue that they found. And then they scanned it and it was a human being's remains that had been bronzed in that position. It's incredibly wild. It like melted my brain a little bit to think about that.
That's some way to go.
Anyway,
I want to look that up.
sorry for the,
Wait, so just to
tangent.
clarify, a monk
Yeah.
who's
Yep, a monk.
was like, okay, I'm gonna bronze myself as a testimony to whatever, and he then knew he was gonna die, and he
Yep,
stayed
he
in there as long as he
accepted
could, just like, and so he wanted to like let people know how long he lasted, so he hit a bell.
I have to go back and read. So the article that I read said that this individual had trained for a very long time to like get to the point where they could exist without like food or water or whatever for, you know, an incredibly long time. And then they essentially mummified him in this bronze statue. And then he was breathing through a straw, you know, while the process was going on, so he could remain like upright and still for the entire process.
So the statue is like the shape of him.
Yes, it's
Like
him.
it was a
It's
statue of him.
Yes,
Right,
but they thought
gotcha.
it was just
Wow.
a bronze statue, but there was actually a mummy inside of it.
It's wild.
Crazy.
All of that, and coming off of, you know, reading this book Endure that I know I've talked about way too much on
Look at
on,
this.
on this
Yeah.
podcast. It's pretty wild. I still don't understand how he was like encapsulated in there.
Look at how crazy that is. And we thought it was just a statue for a long time.
Handsome fella.
So the whole idea is that he wanted to have the statue be identical to who he is, and so he put himself inside of it. That's like the theory.
I don't
And he
think
had
that's
to
the
let
reason
No,
he did it though.
I think the reason that he did it was, you know, whatever they were honoring or celebrating or, you know, the show of probably like complete submission to whatever god that they were worshiping. And it was like his lifetime sacrifice, right?
Wow.
Crazy.
Gabe, I know I cut you off. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, like, all of this, one thing that I've been thinking a lot about, and this ties to the 10-minute, not assault bike, C2 bike that I made up, is just the levels there are to like human performance and stuff that like people have done mentally or you know, you name the thing, like these breath holds, like staying under cold water, you know, climbing Everest for the first time without oxygen, like all of these like things that for a while have been seen as impossible, but then like the human body is just like able to do it. And I think that like we're not even scratching the surface on like what people can do. And like for, you know, normal people like us, you do something like, you know, cause the reason that this reminds me now is I made up the 10-minute max, C2 bike test, and, you know, I had the advantage of knowing the score, but I got 5,700 meters. But the crazy thing about that, and I sent you guys this clip because I immediately thought about it because the C2 bike gives you watts. that score, which we would all argue here that, like, you know, even if we end up repeating that, and I know that that's a conversation we want to have about, say you get 6,000, awesome. Like the wattage that you're holding, so your power for a 10-minute max test would leave us all like on our back, super happy with the performance. We're relatively fit individuals. We train all the time. This guy, Tadej Pogačar, who's the Tour de France winner for the past couple of years, he's like an incredible cyclist, does 5-hour rides, 5 hours consecutive at a zone 2 heart rate. So he's chill, like 140 pace heart rate, and holds 320 to 340 watts. So he would do more than we did on this 10-minute max test for 5 hours at a relatively low heart rate. And that's the kind of power that he can put out.
It's insane.
For 5 hours.
For 5 hours.
Dude,
Like
It's a perfect example. There's levels to the game. Like
it's insane.
But it's
Insane.
How far can he throw a baseball?
Good question. Good
mile and a
question.
half.
Probably doesn't look athletic.
He's just like, he's got a fucking cannon.
Yeah. But like,
right.
no, Gabe, this is a real life example. Like, so Zach Rains, one of our coaches, he's been training a lot on the bike. And, you know, I grew up riding bikes. I still love to hit the mountain bike, but I don't do it regularly. I just like, whatever, I'll do it every now and then. And so he's like, hey, you want to go for a ride? I'm like, sure. I was like, how long do you want to go for? I was like, I got about 2 hours. Like that's my limit. That's where I'm at. Just, I got stuff I need to do. He was okay, cool. So dude, we hit this trail and we went vertical for about an hour and 20 minutes straight, just straight, like
Wow.
no give, hour and 20 minutes. And about maybe I'd say 45 minutes into this climb, like I was feeling good for about 45 minutes. I'm holding a conversation. I'm leading the pace. Like I feel good. 45 minutes in, man, I just start to tank. And then this guy just has a whole nother gear and his legs just don't hit the same stamina that I do. Like, I don't know. Anyways, all I'm trying to say is that like, there's levels to the game. And if you train it, you can get to a whole different place you never thought possible. And my legs showed their age at that point.
I know that feeling.
You know that
Can
feeling,
you guys?
right?
Did you guys see?
I know that feeling.
Wait, so are you guys going to redo the 10 minutes or not?
I'm going to redo the 10 minutes for sure. I'm getting 6,000 meters on that.
I'm redoing it. I'm
gonna
redoing
die
it
trying.
only to beat you, Gabe. That's it. And if I don't beat you, you're never going to hear me talk about it again. I'm just never.
We're never going to know. You're going to say I didn't redo it.
Yeah.
I'm going to redo it until I get 6K for sure.
I'm accepting my L.
Did you guys see the dude that did the 255-pound Turkish getup?
Yeah.
Yes.
Holy cow.
Yes.
I can't even comprehend how strong his shoulders are. His entire system is to hold that overhead. But when you watch it, it didn't even work in my brain how somebody could do that. Deadlifting 255 pounds is a very impressive feat. Like, let's be real. If a human being can walk up to a 255-pound bar and lift it off of the ground to their waist, I'm like, bravo. That's fucking amazing. This dude takes it from the ground laying down all the way overhead
He's a
and then
freak.
back down with it. Mm-hmm. It was I was speechless. I sent it to Gabe. I was like, this doesn't even make sense to me.
Yeah, his
Incredible.
Instagram is awesome. He does some wacky feats of strength.
I can't comprehend how strong that
Is
guy
that the same guy who like took the bar somehow?
Look
Oh
at
yeah,
this.
this is the guy. Yeah,
Fucking incredible. Dude, what's his name? Let's shout him out.
Mike Idala, I want to say.
Mike
Yeah, Mike
Idala.
Idala.
Mike, dude, respect.
Yeah.
Big respect.
Idala. I think it's
Fuck,
Mike
bro.
Idala.
But he does
none
like
of-
single arm holds with like 400 plus pounds over his head, I think.
Look at that.
What
Look,
in the world?
look at that lunge he has to go out of. And then to go back down and not bash your knee into the floor.
Yeah, this part
The
right here
control
this
is
this is
wild.
hard right here.
Hey, could you imagine trying to pass that guy's guard and he just has his arm planted out and just Turkish get ups you?
Look at how thick his forearm
Yeah, look at
and
his
bicep
forearm.
are. Holy shit, bro.
Jack?
Mike Idala. Mike, I shouted you out when I commented on your post, man, but that was one of the most impressive things I've seen in a very long time.
That was good.
Wow.
I got to figure out my next weekly challenge.
So I got to think about what my challenge is going to be. But while we're on the subject, and Liz says everyone was filming it. That is true. I mean, I would have filmed that probably too and be like, bro, look at this crazy stuff right here. So, okay, that one I could see why you would film it. Let's talk about the challenge of the week. So the challenge of the week was max reverse lunges at body weight. And that's what it was. So
Yeah.
let's
you
talk
can,
about
and
it.
you can
And you couldn't
rest.
stop.
You can rest at the top, but no more than like 2 seconds. Like it was very much meant to be, because I feel like, when you do stuff with a bar on your back, you can spend, 10 seconds just kind of like shaking your legs out. Like, sure, you're still under tension, but you can kind of like reset a little bit and squeeze some more out. That wasn't the intention. The intention was continuous reps. So
Something happened to me. So I did it this morning after doing the anaerobic because I forgot to do it. So I did it. I've never been pinned. I got pinned on the lunge.
Wow.
And I didn't know what to do.
You bailed back?
And I know I moderately freaked out for a second. So I normally don't put clamps on the bar, but in this case, because of how much movement, I put clamps on. I just didn't want the weights to fall off. So I get pinned and I'm sitting there. I'm like, okay, can I go forward? Nah. Can I go backward? No, because I don't want it to fall on my ankle, right? Can I shift the weights off? No, because I have clamps. I'm like, well, fuck, I only have one other option. And so I just I got all the strength I could and then came up out of the pocket. But it was a good lesson for me that I should have been more aware of that. I should have been, because what I was worried about, MDV, the reason why I couldn't like dump it back is because I was worried about my ankle because I was flexed on my toe right there.
Yeah, your back leg.
you can, so I've been doing, I was doing a good amount of these lunges, and I don't have ideally you have like the arms that are, the safety arms.
Straps of the arms.
But, you can just flex, like you can put your foot down. That's what you should do. So the way to if you were pinned is, and you can practice this, there's videos of it because I looked it up and it's relatively easy, but you take your foot that's planted with your toe and you just like lay your foot flat and then you can dump it behind you.
You like shift it underneath your hips.
Yeah, that's it. No, not even shift it underneath your hips. You just take your foot that's like this and just put it flat. And then you're good to go.
Oh, like shoelaces, like on your
Yeah,
shoelaces.
shoelaces down on the ground,
Flatten it out
and then you're good. Yeah,
And then the bar won't hit it, right? Yeah.
It won't. And I practiced it with
very
like a light
eye-opening.
barbell.
That was
That's good to
eye-opening
know.
for me. I just want to, I'll bring it up here. I mean, dude, I've been doing this for a really long time and I had not experienced that. And there was a couple of reasons why it happened to me this morning. I got to, do some self-evaluation on that. But yeah, that was eye-opening for sure.
Well, that movement certainly can be troubling if you get pinned. The bench press is another one. We talk about fitness a lot on this show, and probably a lot of guys here who are on the Train Hard app are benching, and Gabe's obviously got bench as part of the program a lot. When you're benching, if you're benching alone, never have clips on the bar. That's like a number one rule for me. If you're ever benching alone, no clips on the bar, because you have to be able, if you get pinned on your chest, shift the bar one way, shift the bar the other. Don't panic. Let the weights fall off. That's a bad scenario to be pinned under a bar that has clips on it if you're benching.
So I normally have the rule that I never bench alone, but I didn't think I need to have that rule with back rack lunges. But I guess next I'm going to have a spotter.
Well, if you're doing a max
no
set,
spotter,
I think
no
that's
spotter for
completely
that,
different.
bro.
Well, I mean,
Spotter for the bench for sure.
No, you wouldn't even be able to have a spotter, I guess,
Not
on the
really.
first
No,
lunges.
Dude, never
stepping in their way.
spot somebody behind on a back squat.
It drives me nuts.
It's such a bad place to be if you're squatting. I hate it. First of all, it's super. If you're coaching, it's super fucking awkward. Let's get real. To spot somebody from behind on a back squat, like you're nuts to butts if you're trying to like get underneath them by their arms, and like it's just a really dangerous place to be. Spotting the back squat, if you do end up spotting it, two people on either end of the barbell. Two people on either end of the barbell. And if you're not doing that, the person needs to understand how to bail the barbell back. You don't need a spotter on the back squat.
I don't go heavy enough
rant
really on
over.
anything to need a spotter until this morning's back rack lunges.
Rant over.
Because I went for max reps.
But I think for
How much you
bench,
get? What?
but I think for bench, I'll show you that in a second. But for bench specifically, just to tie the knot on that, at least for me specifically, because I bench solo all the time and I take reps to failure all the time. I think that that's one of the benefits to me of always doing tempo, because it really limits, I think, the bad situations that can happen. In that, like, sure, you can get pinned, and if you don't have the collars on, you can slide on, slide off, and if you don't panic, it's actually, at least I think, not a big deal. It's happened to me a handful of times. But what you do risk if you don't bench with a tempo, and I think that's where things can get sloppy, is if you're moving super fast and you get to a point where you fail, that's where it could potentially drop on your sternum with a little
it's
bit of
bad.
force. And that's where I think you can really, really get hurt. So one of the many, many reasons where I personally, unless you're like very specifically doing something like, I know we shared a video of Jason doing this from TH Daily, doing like dynamic effort bench press in which you're using a weight that's light enough for you to do that. I think having a really like at least 2 seconds, ideally 3 seconds down tempo on these movements is, I don't know, just like a must all the time. Anyway, I got 47 reps. So I got 47 reps. I have a video, and I got to
You
the
didn't
point.
do an even number of reps, bro? You didn't even it out on the other one?
Yeah, that's
No.
annoying me too.
You guys-
that
I
should
know.
disqualify. That should
Wait,
disqualify.
what weight did you do that?
170. I woke up 171.
47?
No, scaled.
What do you mean? Stuff?
47 scale.
Well, the clips are a pound.
Actually, no. So funny. I think it was actually like 171, 172 because my red 5-pound plates aren't 5-pound plates. They're 2.5 kilos. So literally,
No,
I think
that's
it was
even less.
It was exactly 171 or 172 if you do the math. No, the kilo plates are a little heavier.
What? They're 2.2, right?
No, they're 2.5. 2.5 kilos is what I have. So it's a little bit more than 5 pounds.
Okay. All right.
What'd you get, big guy?
Me? Oh, bro, I'm embarrassed now. I got to redo it. I think it's because I hit that anaerobic session right before it. I'm embarrassed.
What'd you get?
You want me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead, Dennis.
I got 42.
Oh my God, now I'm
Nice.
even
Yes.
more embarrassed.
185. I used 185.
Nice.
That's impressive.
Oh man.
That's impressive.
Which there must be some formula that we can use to
You're
actually
at
determine that I beat Gabe based
You
on
don't weigh
weight.
185.
Sure, I do.
Really?
What do you
Let me
think I
see
weigh?
your biceps.
Post
Your
colon
biceps alone weigh
colon
185.
cleanse,
Yeah.
185.
He was
right?
195 before the colon.
Exactly.
Yeah,
this
this
is
is-
post colon cleanse. It's like 2 days after
This
the
is
colon cleanse.
the ultimate hack for a competitor now.
Might have been 180. Yeah, I got 42.
Jay, what happened? You got pinned. How many did you get?
Wait, hang on. 185 plus 205, 250. Yeah. So I had my weight on the bar. I had 215 on the bar.
Wow.
It's a lot of weight.
That's a lot of weight.
and dude, now I feel like a total wimp.
Dude,
No,
don't,
no, no,
I got
don't be a
15. I got 15, and then I don't know, but I was really
That's
staying
such a
true to the 2-second rule. Just 1, 2, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden it just didn't come back up again.
15 each leg or 15 total?
Dennis's response was the
Oh,
best. Dennis
goodness.
was like, dude, don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed. Just share. And then you said
No,
15.
no,
and then Dennis
shaming.
was like,
Well,
The strength to body weight ratio on a movement like this is interesting because if like
Yeah, it
the
is.
smaller you are here, obviously like the capacity for those athletes to move the weight longer is much higher. Like as soon as you crest like the 200-pound mark in this,
Yeah.
I think the reps are coming way
Yeah,
down,
for sure.
way
For sure.
down.
215
I
is
don't
a
know, man.
lot.
I mean,
215 is a
yeah.
lot of weight on your back.
15
No, Jay, you should-
compared to and I mean, I tried to because you guys were giving me some riff on my push-ups and this and that, and so I was like, all right, 1 second, boom, feeling good. Honestly, I wish I had it on video. To be honest, I really do, because I just
you're
can't.
supposed to take a video every single time. This is like part of the rule of the challenge.
Maybe I was.
I wish I would have taken a video.
Jay, if you did it at 190, I'd be interested to see you do it at 190 because I think like you and Dennis, like raw strength wise, are probably pretty similar in terms of like strength. I would say obviously Dennis is a little lighter, like you're a little heavier, but you doing it at 190, I think would be a good comparison to see like how many more reps can I get, even if it's just like 25 pounds below. That's a huge amount of weight once you kind of continue to go up the ladder. The higher the weight on the barbell gets, the obviously the jumps in incremental weight above that, the reps come down and down and down fast.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
formulas they use to like determine relative strength ratios, and lighter athletes have the advantage in all this stuff.
For
Well,
sure.
Liz put up something from ChatGPT about. I'd be curious if you put in my 215 for 15 very solid reps, what would happen, Liz? But she said a 170-pound athlete doing 47 reps at body weight equals 7990 total pounds moved, whereas the athlete at 185 doing 42 reps is 7770 total pounds moved. So in terms of total volume lifted, the 170-pound athlete comes out victorious and has a awesome-looking mustache. Gabe
By how
Yanez.
much? What
Liz
was the
always has
numbers?
my back.
I could have sneaked out a couple extra.
I was like, I'm getting 50. I'm 100% getting 50. But then it was going to be, I think, over the 2-second like pause at the top. So I was like, I'm done. And
Yeah, I
it was
started
also just
getting
an
there, too.
excuse because it sucked at that point.
I took the Gabe Yanez approach on this one. So I'm pulling a Gabe. I'm hearing everybody's scores. and then I'm going to go and try and beat the scores.
There you go.
But I couldn't do it because my ankle's just not stable enough to hold.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the
my
best.
body weight on my back.
Yeah,
right
Definitely
now.
the best movement. Post Achilles tear.
Yeah, not a good movement post Achilles tear for sure.
No, you don't
All
want
right,
to be
well,
doing that.
Jason, you're set up beautifully. You need a W here, big guy.
Wait, like, let me, Liz, is there a area in that formula for age by any chance?
Yes, dude.
The age factor. Good point. Good point.
Yeah.
It's all right,
Okay.
then. Don't worry about it. It's the BPC 157.
Oh yeah, I gotta start injecting my stuff with shit. I'm drinking some of that like hydrogen water.
Yeah, you're the
Isn't that the new
natural-
thing? Hydrogen water?
Natural athlete of the bunch.
I'm going to give this one a three score challenge. 3 scores.
Maybe he'll win one.
Yep.
Oh my goodness, Gabe.
And-
Savage.
Okay. It's 3 scores. It's 3 movements. It's 1 score. It's going to be max reps at 95 pounds, shoulder press, into max reps at 95 pounds, push press, right into max reps at 95 pounds, push jerk. Meaning 3, 2, 1, go. You do as many as you can with no legs. Once you burn out, you could then utilize your leg 1 time. Once you burn out from that, you could then utilize your legs twice. And your total score is your total reps, but then we can score it 3 different ways.
I'm going to phone a friend on this one. I'm going to ask Mike Idala to take my spot here. Take my spot in this challenge. Mike, your assignment, 95 pounds, bro. Strict press, push jerk. Let's see your score, Mike.
It's too light for him.
I hope he does it. It's going to be modern math can't calculate the numbers.
No, he'll smash that. But you guys get it? So the winner is the person who can get I don't know. We'll come up with a scoring.
Total reps. Total reps.
Total reps.
It's got to be total reps, right?
Yes.
I mean,
Score?
if it's total
It has to
reps,
be.
you could totally game it and just do like 5 shoulder press, 5 push press, and then you just bang out nothing but push jerks at the end.
I mean, honor system, you got to go to failure. You got to go to failure on everything, right?
Well, I mean, you could put like a max set and then a 30-second rest between each one, and you'd still have so much fatigue from the max set going into the next movement that it would be very difficult. Up to you, Jay.
I like not putting down the bar.
Reps.
Just shoulder press, right into push press, right into push jerk. It's gonna be a great just flow.
Total reps. Game it
and-
if you want.
Oh, let's go.
Gabe's currently in the lead on total challenge wins. But I think this week I don't know. I'm feeling pretty good about it. We'll see.
All right. I can't
All
wait.
right.
Oh, this is gonna be a good graphic. I didn't make the last graphic. This is gonna be a good one with Jason's 15 in the leaderboard.
Really? All right. I see what you're doing there.
We need a.
Is someone going to comment? Is that a typo like they did on mine?
Yeah.
That
Who
was
said
one
that,
of our
Jordan?
internal team members who commented. She was making the graphic, bro. She had to get the confirmation whether or not your score was legit.
It's a typo.
That was
it's so
that was
good.
so good because she doesn't have the context of any of this. She's literally just designing it based off what we sent her. She was like, I need to confirm here. This is the typo.
That's so good. Such a subtle burn.
I'm excited for the W I'm going to get on the shoulder press, push jerk. I came up with that just right now, and I feel good about it. And for everybody listening, look, we've talked about the Train Hard app. I'm going to bring it up one more time here just because I believe it's that great. I believe it is a tool and a mechanism that will keep you on the path and show you the path. And so if you're not on there, check out the podcast show notes. It is the greatest training platform on the absolute planet. We have Train Hard Daily. We have Flex. We have ways to track your progress. We want to see your before and after pictures. We want to help you get to where you want to be. We want you in the community section, hitting us up on a regular basis. And all of those things occur within our training app. So again, if you haven't checked it out, there's a free 7-day trial. Join the community and you'll see all the fire that's happening within the community and all the different programs you have available. Check it out in the podcast show notes. And as per usual, keep training hard.